Hi everyone, I'm Jenica Mears, language acrobat and newly minted author of the book titled CARICOM, Good Offices, Good Neighbors. Today I wanted to share with you a bit of the backstory of how this book came into being. It was not meant to be a book at all. Actually, it was my dissertation for a master's in diplomacy that I've been pursuing with the University of Malta since 2019. At the time when I started the research in 2020, I was actually working in Zimbabwe, and following the news of home, I was seeing that Venezuelans were fleeing their country and seeking refuge in the wider Caribbean region, in my home country, Trinidad and Tobago, and in Latin America. And it was ironic for me that I had worked previously in a huge refugee operation in Bangladesh, and that now my country was playing host to refugees from Venezuela. So I decided to turn my attention to research this subject matter, and I wanted to approach it from the perspective of how Caribbean countries were responding in their diplomacy, their diplomatic approach to dealing with that crisis and dealing with our Venezuelan neighbor. So from there, I had been doing the research, and midway through 2020, I felt homesick. I was living in a landlocked country. I am from the Caribbean, and I needed to see the Caribbean Sea. So I did a really crazy thing. I left my job. I left Zimbabwe in the middle of the COVID pandemic to come home, except I did not know exactly how or when I would be able to get home because my country's borders are still closed. Up to this day, there is no international traffic coming into Trinidad and Tobago. So I had to apply for an exemption to be able to get special permission to enter the borders. Now, I had no exemption at the time when I left Zimbabwe, but I thought, I'm gonna make my way to the Caribbean. I'm gonna camp out in the Caribbean until I'm able to get back home. Now, thankfully, I have lots of friends and well-wishers in the Caribbean, and so it was a calculated risk, but at the same time, I knew that I would not be sleeping out on the street. So I made my way to Guadeloupe, and I stayed there for like 2 months with a friend, Fareed. I continued working on my dissertation all the while. Then I made another calculated risk, and I thought, if I get to Barbados, I heard that there were some special repatriation flights from Barbados to Trinidad. So I thought if I'm in Barbados, I have better chances of getting on one of those repatriation flights. And so I got to Barbados. I stayed, initially I had to undergo quarantine. So I was staying at a hotel in quarantine, Dover Beach Hotel, and continued working on my dissertation. Then a friend of mine, Joel, opened up his home to me. I stayed there where I continued working on my dissertation until I got news of a special repatriation flight home, and I got that exemption, and I was able to go home to Trinidad on the 2nd of October. There I went into state quarantine where I continued working on my dissertation until I was released. I was able to spend some time with my family in Trinidad where I continued working on my dissertation until I could come to my homestead in Tobago, where I continued working on my dissertation. It's been a long process. Almost all of 2020 I spent working on that dissertation, reviewing, revising. That dissertation underwent, I don't know how many, several overhauls. And I have to say, my dissertation supervisor is an extremely patient, empathetic woman. She worked through her Christmas break to review and provide guidance to me to really clarify my thoughts, because quite sincerely, with the traveling from Zim to Bim, there were periods where my thoughts were just quite cloudy. Let's put it nicely. And I can tell you, I many times just wanted to give up because I'm thinking, listen, is this thing really important? Do I really need to finish this? Can I just, settle for the postgraduate diploma and not bother with the master's? But here's the thing. I'd already paid for the master's, and I was like, you know what? I need to finish my dissertation. Thankfully, I had some friends around me who in my moments of discouragement, they really propped me up and pushed me to finish my master's dissertation, which I submitted on the 30th of December 2020. Thereafter, I had like this lightning flash. I remembered there was a publisher who had expressed interest in a previous dissertation that I did like 10 years before. And I reached out to them, Lambert Academic Publishing. And within a very short space of time, they got back to me and boom, they were interested in my current dissertation. And so my dissertation went from research for a university degree to a book. So today I'm very thankful to Lambert Academic Publishing for your support in turning this dissertation into a book, which I hope will contribute to the body of knowledge that's already circulating about that Venezuelan crisis, and also about how our Caribbean countries practice diplomacy. As I said, if you're interested in Caribbean regional affairs, Caribbean politics and diplomacy, this is a book that you definitely want to pick up. It's CARICOM, Good Offices, Good Neighbours, printed by Lambert Academic Publishing.